bit about income producing activity, because when I was new, I was like really confused when everybody kept on saying income producing activity. I'm like, I don't know what that means. Like, I guess I should sit in front of a computer, and I really didn't know what that meant. And it really took some time to kind of like understand what an income producing activity is. And because so many people can get onto the computer and just kind of scroll and scroll and scroll, I think what people need to understand, and anybody will watch the recording will kind of like understands what I'm trying to get at, is you need to be doing things that are going to be making you money. And the income producing activities means that you're really casting a wide net. And not only are you casting a wide net, but you're sharing. It's one thing to literally sit on Facebook or Instagram and like and comment and add new friends, but essentially in the long run, it could earn you an income, but you really need to understand what to actually do with that. And so it's really important. Hi guys. It's really important to be doing the income producing activity. So what I mean by that, it's sending out messages and sharing the business with people, sharing the product, sharing before and afters with people. And so, you know, it's really about actually saying, hey, I want to invite you to a 3-way call. For those who just joined us, I'm talking about income producing activities. Hi guys. Thanks for hopping on. And you know, it's saying, listen, I'd love to share this opportunity with you. Let's quickly get on the phone. I'd love to fill you in. Or inviting somebody to a business opportunity meeting, inviting somebody to hear more onto a 3-way call. Like those actions that are actually going to bring somebody through the funnel is an income producing activity. Calling somebody who was interested in products at one time and touching base back with them and placing and closing that order. That's an income producing activity. So I'd love for you guys, to continue to make new friends every single day, but it's really about the content of those reach outs. That's what's going to be the most powerful thing for you, because you want to make money with this. And so not to follow up with them is really going to be a foolish thing to do, because it could be money wasted sitting right then and there, and they can join somebody else or buy product from somebody else. I think the most important thing to do also when you are considering your income producing activities, it does start with making the new friend and talking to new people. One thing that is going to be so important for you guys is to continue to step out your comfort zone and meet new people and make new friends. I was in a restaurant. We had just gotten back from Australia. And I was in a restaurant with my kids and my husband, and my kids had the iPad, so they were super well behaved. And a couple was sitting next to us, and the husband said, "Your kids are like so good." And I'm like, they have the iPad. Of course they're going to be good. And the wife actually, like, she smiled. She's like, yeah, they're so good. You know, she engaged me, a total stranger. So I said, screw it. I'm going to take advantage of that. And so we had just gotten back from Australia, and there was a girl on our trip that actually looked like her twin. And I literally took out my phone and I said, I'm totally going to bombard your table right now. I sat next to her while she was ordering dessert. And I said, we just got back from Australia. I had to come over because this is your twin. And I showed her a picture of her, and she's like, oh my God, it kind of does look the same. And I said, you kind of look familiar. And we got to talking, and I just asked her a lot of questions. I asked where they grew up, where do they live, do they have kids, how old are they? I said, we have to know each other some way. Are you on Facebook? And she says, yeah, I'm on Facebook. I said, I know we have mutual friends. I looked her up. We'd had known mutual friends, and I added her as a friend. I'm like, I'm totally adding you as a friend. It's so crazy I met your twin. And that was it. And I've now added somebody to my network. So when you are out in the grocery store, out at the hair salon, getting a manicure, you have to constantly be talking to people. And the objective is to ask them a lot of questions so you can learn about them. And that's really the best way to how to grow your network. If you continue to share this opportunity with your warm market, you will run out of people. And you will sit there and say to your upline, I've hit I'm stale. I've hit a point where I don't have anybody else to talk to. Well, get out there and make new friends. And, I do remember that there was a point in my business where Melissa Darnell and she's my sponsor, and we were commuting home from our office in New York City, and we lived similar. So we took the subway together. And I remember we were walking out of the subway back to our apartment, and I said, Melissa, I literally have no one else to share this with. And she just looked at me very frankly, and she says, so go make fucking new friends. And I said, okay. And that night I went home and I friended all my husband's friends that we had mutual friends with. And I got my fourth Lexus driver out of that. We were not friends. And just because I had tapped into my husband's network, I tried to expand my network and make new friends. It resulted in me getting a pretty big player on my team, which I'm super grateful for. So that's what I really wanted to talk about with the Q&A, the IPA portion of it. I know that Dina had asked me to address some common objections that you guys might have. So I don't know if everybody's muted, but if you guys want to throw out a common objection that you get that I can kind of help walk you through, is there anything that you specifically get often in terms of an objection that I can kind of help you walk through?
I'm not a salesperson.
Okay.
That was yesterday. I got that objection.
Okay. How did you feel comfortable with responding with that?
Well, I kind of, I said, me neither. This was totally out of anything I've ever done. I'm like, and it's not really about sales. It's not about you're trying to sell the product. I'm like, for me, it's more about meeting new people and making connections. And I love the product. So that's just a bonus. And I kind of, and that's what I use to kind of talk to people and get them, to come to me or become interested in Rodan and Fields. But it's not, it's not I used to think it was a sales kind of job, but it's not really, because most of the people I've gotten as customers have come to me. I haven't reached out to them. So I kind of went that way, but she just said, another friend had reached out to her about Rodan and Fields, and it's just not her thing. She just wasn't, I don't know, I guess wasn't really interested. I've been getting a lot of roadblocks like that recently, and I don't know how to kind of move forward from there.
Yeah. So with any objection, I'm sure you guys have heard this a million times before, but it's the feel, felt, found response to the objection. So I totally understand how you feel. To be honest, I felt that way when I got started. I'm not a salesperson, but what I found was that this is more of a relationship business. And then I typically go into storytelling, because no matter what, stories sell. So for me specifically, I have my 4 top leaders. One of them is like a kindergarten teacher / works like with clothing. The other one is a yoga teacher. The other one is also a school teacher. And the last one is also a yoga teacher, ironically. So I like to say, like, listen, the top 4, income earning girls on my team are 2 of them are yoga teachers, and 2 of them are teachers, and one of them has some fashion, she's a little bit of a fashionista. And so I kind of like to share stories with people. And I say something that I've used, because I do have a sales background. So I have to also combat that objection a lot, because people think that if I'm designed for it, it's because I'm a salesperson. So I typically say, you know what, because I was in sales, it's actually a little bit harder for me, because although yes, I can maybe get a no and deal with it a little bit more, this first and foremost is a relationship business. Like, you literally have to just harness relationships. And it does help that our products are simply amazing and they do what they say they're going to do. And so I kind of try and go that route. I keep it very simple with the feel, felt, found, and then I try and share a story. So I think that helps, because I kind of try to nip it in the butt and change the subject immediately to show them that this is something that they could do. And these are the reasons why I think they would be good.
Great.
Does anybody else have any objections that they've gotten recently? So another one, go ahead.
I had another one. I didn't
Yeah,
know,
go for it.
but that it's too expensive. Like, the product is too expensive, the kit is too expensive. It's just, too much money, and that's another objection that I'm getting.
So I am very just honest and transparent about a lot of what I do. And I typically say like, well, what are you using right now? And I am trying to gauge what they're using right now, because to be honest with you, they could be using Clinique, and we are totally in line with those prices. And so I like to stress that, you know, we are similar price point to a department store brand, if not a few dollars cheaper, because you ain't walking into Bloomingdale's getting a wash, toner, a moisturizer, and a night cream for less than $200. And we are. And so I like to just paint that picture for them in terms of the cost comparison. Secondly, I would tell them that, listen, if it means spending an extra $25, $30 on a package to get really great skin instead of going and running through and buying a million different things and having a product graveyard in your bathroom, to me, that's important. And you know what? With the people who say that it's too expensive, just start them on an eye cream. Just start them on a lip serum. Just ask them to buy a paste jar, because it's okay that these people, some people don't want to shell out $200 for a redefined regimen, but guess what? There are other people that do. And so anybody that encounters an objection like that, get them on some sort of product, but move on, because there is millions and millions of people in the United States who will buy these products. It's just really about not getting stuck in that glue of the no's, because there are a million yeses out there. So with the kit prices, I also like to share a story and say that, do you know anybody that owns their own business? Because when somebody owns their own business, they're investing a ton of capital up front, and there's a ton of overhead on top of it. And so I'm typically I will articulate a story and say, listen, and if you could use somebody else's story, you could use my story, or maybe you have a personal story.
For mine, since I have my own business, you guys can always use my story.
Right. And so I would, share that story of Dina's. And for me, I started a wedding and event planning business that freaking flopped miserably. And I spent a ton of money. I spent so much money on business cards and my websites and the cost to acquire brides. And I mean, it was crazy, and I made nothing. And here it's less than $1,000. So when I think when you, it's really just about your posture. It's completely going to be about your posture when you're talking about those kits and when you're talking about CRP. When you tell them there's a potential to earn income and the type of income that you are dreaming of or people on your team have achieved, that's where the part of the stories kind of sell. Another objection that I kind of nip in the butt real quick is I don't have time. And my one-liner that I always say that everyone's like, you're right, is I always say, hey, if you want shit done, you give it to a busy person. And it's a very real, raw sentence that kind of makes people say, I guess she's right. And let them know, listen, if you were sitting around in your house doing nothing, I probably wouldn't have even spoken to you about the opportunity, because I want people that are busy. And the busiest people are the most successful in this business because they've got their hands in multiple pockets of networks, and they're meeting people constantly, and they're traveling, and they're engaged. And I think those people are the best consultants. So I wouldn't shy away from people who you might think are too busy, because those are probably the best people. And then you use that why not, and you turn it into a why when they say, I'm too busy. Okay, great. Well, this is exactly why you should be doing this, because this will give you that time freedom eventually that you might be looking for. I just also wanted to leave time for Q&As if you guys had any questions, but I wanted to talk about some best tools. For me, it's literally been 3 things. Well, kind of 4 things, but consistency, literally just not stopping. This is a part-time business and a sometimes business. I will never not do Rodan and Fields in a day. You have to be consistent. You have to continuously follow up. There is no time for breaks. If you don't do this business for 3 days, you will lose momentum. It's sort of like the best practices rule. You never go longer than 3 days. I try not to go longer than 24 hours. But I'm very consistent. I always felt when I started, I read the book, I don't know if it was Beach Money or Flip Flop CEO, one of those in the beginning of when I started. And someone said, if you have 24, or they said, I'm sorry, if you have 25 consultants on your team, you will make like $1 million. And I was like, okay, that sounds good. I'm just going to share this business with one person a month. And if I can sign one person consistently a month, in 2 years, I'll have 24 consultants and I'll be really, really rich. Well, it kind of holds true, but it's that those 25 people actually have to be working the business. So almost like an EC leg. So I almost need 50 to 60 people to join my business to get those 25 EC legs. But I have to be honest with you, it is kind of true. And so if you can look at this into a 3 to 5 year plan, you can have 25 working consultants on your team. And that is going to make a huge difference in your life, because it is totally life-changing money when you kind of approach that way. The second thing is perseverance. I've had a lot of setbacks, or I've had a lot of disappointment. My close family doesn't really, they support me and like, good job, how was the event? Or I'm so proud of you, but they don't support me. They don't buy products. They haven't joined me in business. Like, my success is fully from like my cold network. I really don't have anybody in my warm network. So it took a lot for me to persevere on, because I had to prove to my warm network that I'm going to do it on my own. And if you can persevere through the hard times of when somebody sends their kit back, or somebody that was on your dream team says no, or you got a nasty, judgy response from somebody, like, you have to persevere through, because this business is filled with mountains. And every time you go down a mountain, you're going to come right back up. And that's the part of having faith in the business. You've got to climb back up that mountain. And how exciting is it to climb up something new? And you're excited to get to the top. So always keep that in mind, that this business will work if you work. And so having the faith and strive for the perseverance has been super, super helpful for me. The other thing is knowing your why. I fully believe in having your why and then having a dream board to go with it. I'm not an artist. I am not at all creative. This was from last year. I made this. It was when the Australia trip was Greece. I wanted a Chanel bag. You know what? I need it. And I'm renovating my house right now. This came true. You really have to kind of dream and know why you're doing this. And there have been so many times where I put this little dream board up in front of behind my computer right here. And I do 3-way calls constantly. And I literally do 3-way calls staring at the dream board. And I close these girls because my passion is coming through when I talk about the business, because I want all those things on that board to come true. So when I'm talking to somebody, I'm super, super passionate about it. And then the lastly, best tool tip or best practices I can use or say is to really be reading books and doing a lot of personal development. I think that goes hand in hand with knowing your why and really being honest and very real and raw with your team. And it's really it's helped me kind of learn also not to take things personally in the business, which I know we all can. So, just doing a ton of personal development. I read articles, I read books, I watch videos. I think that's been super helpful for me. So a few things really quickly. There was a new email that came out today for Lead the Way. I highly encourage, if you guys did not read that yet, that you should. It's an incredible, incredible way to earn more miles. And people who participate in the Lead the Way program, their paychecks are, I think the statistic is 35.
Yes.
35% higher if you participate in Lead the Way. So did you guys have a question? I didn't know if anybody had a question. Okay, good. So, so Lead the Way is a really, really powerful program, and it's so cute, and it's going to be really great. There also is a new program, a new incentive that's being announced. It's being announced this month. It'll be geared towards level 5s, and it's going to be something that you guys are really, really going to want to run for. So it's a new program that they're implementing, and whether you are level 5 or you're running for Premier or it's just unbelievable. Virtual convention. I'm not sure if you guys saw any of the videos, but who's going to a convention?
I think it's just me.
Okay, so for the 3 of you guys, or 4 of you guys, you can register for virtual convention. I think it's like $89.99, but you literally will have access to the main stage where you can see everything. You'll have access to purchase the new products, because previously only those who went to convention could purchase the product, and you'll have access to all of the trainings. So you will be able to get really great info at convention. And then lastly, I just wanted to say the new product that's coming out, we saw it in Australia, and it's going to knock your socks off, and it's at a perfect price point in my opinion, and you're going to make a lot of money. Everybody's going to want it. It's really unbelievable. It's really
awesome.
Unbelievable. So does anybody have a question or two that I can help walk them through?
You guys, there's 8 people on. I think we can only see 4 at a time. Here we go. You guys, please use Lisa now, because we got to hop off in about 5-6 minutes. Any questions, anything that's come up?
I have a question. How would you deal with someone who maybe is interested in becoming a consultant, but they have an objection to the cost of enrolling? Like they're like, oh man, I don't have $700 or $1,000 right now. Because I was actually in that boat before I was able to enroll.
Right. So I think using that feel, felt, found will help, because it really rings true to your situation. Have you done a 3-way call with your sponsor and them?
No, I'm not thinking of anyone specific. I'm just thinking ahead if I come across that. Right.
So I think that don't prejudge that, because there are people out there that will see this as just like you did, that will see that this is an investment that's worthy of that $700 or that $1,000, because they can start a business and really have amazing income earning potential for under $1,000. So I would really suggest that put that in the back of your head. Like, don't let it come to the forefront, because if you posture the conversation and are like, wow, like the kid is $700, the kid is $1,000, I think you really need to own it from the very beginning and say, oh, the kid is less than $1,000. Like, I understand it might have been a challenge or struggle for you, but it's really just about the posture moving forward. So that is something that I would actually practice. I don't mean to be like cheesy or anything, but call your sponsor or talk to your husband or talk to your best friend or your mom and practice that objection. Practice presenting the product prices. It took me a very long time to own CRP the way that we should, but I freaking own it and I love it, because to be honest with you, anyone that participates in CRP in my book and embraces it is successful. Anybody who fights me, it's like I almost don't even like. I'm just like, you know what? I don't know if you see the vision of what this business can do for you if you use it to build your business. So I really own it, and I love to talk about it, because I can separate the people who are like, I got it. I know it's important. I know it's important for me to use for my skin. I know it's important for me to use for samples. I get it. Or those people who are a little bit hesitant about it and who don't quite understand how CRP can benefit their business. So I think it's about the posture. Yeah. And if you do get that objection, because if you haven't gotten it yet, maybe you will never. So think positively, but definitely get them on the phone with your upline and make it happen.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. Thanks. That's a good question. Anybody else? Use the guru now. Come on, guys. Because after this call, why don't we like me, 9 o'clock, Mary Hoff, who is our Eastern, like she's the regional director for this Eastern region. She's going to do a training call, like her top 10, which is great. I think we should all, transition to that call. But anything else, anyone else want to address anything? I mean, thanks, Lisa, so much. Like that was actually really great. I just, if anyone else has anything, anyone to come across anything that they're confused about, speak up now. Oh, okay.
All right, awesome.
Well, thanks again so much.
You're welcome. Take care, and we'll catch you
talk
at
to
9
you.
o'clock.
Yeah, we'll talk to you in the next one.
Okay,
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.